In former President Trump's criminal trial, Trump was found guilty on 34 counts of falsifying business records, making him the first former president to be a convicted felon.
His sentencing now set for July 11th, just days before Republicans are expected to formally nominate him as their presidential candidate. We have live team coverage. Doug Williams live outside Trump Tower, where the former president will speak later this morning. Let's begin, though, with CBS2's Elijah Westbrook, who is live from the criminal courthouse in Lower Manhattan. Elijah?
Well, Chris and Mary, were being told that there was an audible gasp that resounded across the courtroom once word came down that a verdict had been reached by the jury. And once that verdict was read out loud, we're being told that Donald Trump glared at each of the jurors as the word guilty was said 34 times. Now, we know that the jury, which is composed of 12 Manhattan residents, found that Trump illegally falsified business records to cover up a $130,000 payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels before the 2016 election. The jury delivered the verdict in just over 11 hours. Now, the prosecution's star witness, Trump fixer Michael Cohen, gave a crucial testimony that directly implicated Trump in falsifying the $130,000 payment. The presumptive Republican nominee is now a convicted felon.
This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt.
The only voice that matters is the voice of the jury, and the jury has spoken.
Now, Trump's sentencing is set for July 11th at 10 a.m., just days before Republicans are expected to formally nominate him for president. He could face anything from probation to prison time, although legal experts we spoke to say it's highly unlikely we will see the former president behind bars. That is the latest at this time. From Lower Manhattan, Elijah Westbrook, CBS 2 News.
Elijah, thank you. The former president spending the night at Trump Tower in Midtown, where he's set to hold a news conference later this morning.
CBS 2's Doug Williams is there live with that part of the story. Doug.
Mary and Chris, good morning. I want to give you an idea of just how quiet it is outside Trump Tower right now. You can see out front, there's actually police barricades. There are more police and media than pedestrians and civilians at this hour. The sidewalk right outside Trump Tower is closed to any walking traffic. Across the street is open. It's also empty. No protesters, demonstrators, Trump supporters of any kind. And at 11 a.m. this morning, a new phase begins for the former president, who will try and spin this guilty verdict into something his supporters can continue to rally behind. Chopper 2 was over Trump Tower after yesterday's verdict. The crowd at its largest was earlier in the evening. Former President Trump seen returning to Trump Tower at about 6:15. He waved to a crowd of his supporters. Our crews caught up with New Yorkers representing opinions on both sides after the guilty verdict.
Why did he be here? Because I think somebody has to stand up and say, this is invalid. You can't do this kind of law. This destroys American jurisprudence.
It's insane. That's never happened before in history. So this is something that we're living, and I don't even know how this is going to turn out. I'm shocked.
That took a lot of courage for that jury to come back with that kind of a charge against him. I just think it's amazing.
And as for what's planned for 11 o'clock this morning at Trump Tower behind me, unclear if the press is going to be able to ask questions or whether former President Trump will answer questions. Yesterday in the courthouse, he called the trial and the whole process unfair, talked about the judge, which he did throughout really the preceding trial, and also then steered to a conversation about the country. And so we'll see if President Trump brings more of that campaign rhetoric into his remarks today and leaves the trial behind him going forward, and now the guilty verdict as well. We're live outside Trump Tower in Midtown. Doug Williams, CBS 2 News.
Okay, Doug. Rudy Giuliani reacting to the verdict.
A very sad day for America. A very, very sad day for anyone who values justice and has lived by it. And I hope this gets reversed very, very quickly.
The former mayor and Trump attorney has faced his own legal problems. Last month, Giuliani was indicted on felony charges related to alleged efforts to overturn President Biden's 2020 win in Arizona. Last year, he also lost a defamation lawsuit regarding his false claims about 2 election workers in Georgia.
People in Montclair, New Jersey were also reacting to the verdict.
it's just been so long, and it's just really nice to think things work sometimes, and it has worked.
To see this happen, given the preponderance of evidence, man, I was ready to do the happy dance.
Yeah, I don't think it's really gonna change the course of the United States. I think, you're gonna always have someone in the president, and half the country's gonna like them, half the country's gonna not.
And CBS 2's Alice Gaynor has been inside the courtroom for the entire case. Here's a look at some of her reporting moments after Trump's guilty verdict.
When the verdict itself was read, it was quiet in that courtroom. All you could hear was the furious typing that journalists were doing. Members of the public were sitting behind me. Court officers had already instructed them no outbursts of any kind, and they were quiet. We could not see the former president's reaction because they cut the video feed.
And you can hear more about Alice's experience covering this trial on CBS Mornings. That's starting at 7 a.m.
And stay with CBS2 for continuing coverage. We'll have more analysis and reaction to the guilty verdict throughout the morning right here on CBS2 and streaming on CBS News New York.
It is 5:35 right for you right now. Coming up, new research showing how loneliness is impacting kids as young as 5 years old.
How experts say organizations like Girl Scouts can help. And now let's turn things over to meteorologist Tony Sadiku with a beautiful day on the west side.
Hey, good morning, guys. Beautiful indeed. We are waking up a little bit cooler out the door, parts of our area, but it's nice in the city. Gorgeous day on tap. But then things will change a bit over the weekend as winds start to shift. We're getting ready to blow in a warmer air mass. And can we do something? Can we start a new streak of dry weekends across our area? Our weather team analyzing the data will let you know how we see it as you make those outdoor plans. When CBS 2 News This Morning continues.
Now you can get your CBS New York news, weather, and live stream all in one place on the CBS News app. Download it free today.
Good morning and welcome back to CBS 2 News this morning. Time for our first alert weather team. Meteorologist John Elliott and Tony Sadiku both standing by this morning. We'll get to John in a moment. First, here's Tony on the west side. Hey, Tony.
Hey there, Chris. Happy Friday, by the way. I hope you don't mind a sunny and near perfect day to close out the week and head into the weekend. I would say, especially after how we started off the week with all that rain on Memorial Day, not a bad thing that we can actually finish strong, and that is what we'll do. Where we're standing Upper West Side, it feels delightful. Right, we'll show you what we got numbers-wise. Mobile Weather Lab set up temperatures low 60s. That relative humidity is way down, so the air is drier. Winds variable right now, but they're going to be predominantly out of the north today. The next couple of days, eventually that high will shift offshore and we'll crank those winds out of the south. That will send temperatures into a different gear. But for now, show you numbers across the area. It's not in the 60s everywhere because, parts of our area, you may want the sweater or the light jacket out the door. I'm talking about you, my friends in Monticello. It's 43 right now. Sussex, Poughkeepsie, you're both in the upper 40s. You've got some 50s around the area too. Now, we're not going to stay here. See how the temperatures stack up as we'll watch the sunshine do the thing. And we're looking forward to a nice and a healthy warm up this afternoon. Numbers in the mid to upper 70s. It's sunny. It's comfortable. You want the shades out the door. All this to say today's a highlight. Bright, but the sun's not beating down on you. It's not too hot, not too cold. We're kind of in that sweet spot for ideal human comfort. If you do work outside, man, you're the lucky ones today. I hope you get a chance to enjoy it. If you don't, any excuse to be outside is a good one. Show you the radar picture where nothing going on here across the region. That low is offshore, nothing really doing there. And it's, we got to consider ourselves lucky because it's stormy out west, Midwest, down to Texas. They're dealing with severe weather. Minimal impacts as some of that moisture tries to work in here late this weekend into early next week. But John, it's a delightful stretch of weather for the weekend. Really can't ask for much more than this.
And Tony, you're so right. We have to count our blessings. They're going to have baseball-size hail, straight-line winds in the plains, so we've got it made. Thanks, Tony, and thank you to the weather watchers. These are some chilly numbers. Backyard observations in the 40s dominate to the north. Elena there in Brooklyn has one of the warmer readings, but it is chilly, even chilly for the Jersey Shore. Now, you know I hate to parrot the weather watchers, but it is World Parrot Day. Hey, you see what I did there? And it's also Smile Day. I don't know how he did it, but that is an adorable picture. Appreciate that. I wonder what Walter's doing today. It has something to do with the back nine, I think. Thank you, Neil. Neil always has a keen eye. Remember, when you shoot the sky, very important to have at least a third of it as the ground, so you get that kind of reference. And then also, what a great way to show fair weather cumulus and the blue just popping through for you. Delightful. Here's another way to take a look at the skies. Put a camera on top of a big, tall building. It looks really, really comfortable. Really nice. 77, right around where we should be. And there's a number for you. Sun doesn't set till 8:21, and then June is jumping out all over. I want to follow up on what Tony's talking about. You know, you look at the big view, and we are counting our blessings. But even the European is bringing in this moisture. So we've skipped ahead to lunchtime. Still nice in our area. Still nice right through your Saturday. See how it's nice? Very great. Very comfortable, I should say. Friday night into Saturday with more great weather. And then Sunday, plan on more clouds. For travel purposes, late Sunday, even coming up from the Jersey Shore, you could see a little shower activity. Europeans being a little aggressive with this, but that is our chance for rain. So we start the very first part of Monday with some shower activity. Then Monday shapes up. And then it's definitely on again, off again as we work our way into the middle part of the week. And remember, next week, we are dealing with more available energy in the atmosphere. It's going to be warmer next week. So we will likely wrap up the week with some shower or thunderstorm activity. A little bit of a surplus for May, a huge surplus for the spring season. But as we start meteorological summer, watch out for a busier midweek coming up. Tonight, clear and calm, not quite as chilly, still delightful. Overnight temperatures will still be in the 40s north and west, and just north and west of our area, they're dealing with some patchy frost. I know. It's the beginning of June. And then tomorrow into the weekend, you know, Saturday into Sunday, we're kind of tweaking some of the numbers for Saturday, taking them up a bit. There's a little bit more model agreement that it's going to be a warm weekend. Nice warm weekend, a big change from, say, yesterday to Saturday and Sunday. And do remember Sunday, that's where we're going to see more clouds in the area. And late, we could even see a shower push through. So that's our next chance for some shower activity into the very first part of the week. And then notice we're climbing into the 80s, but by midweek, with that moisture on the way, we have to bring in that chance of showers. So it's a little unsettled. No major storms, nothing like that, even in the long range forecast. But boy, the short range, woo, looking great, feeling really comfortable too.
Yeah, make some plans for this weekend.
Going to.
All right.
Already done.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Let's get you to the first alert traffic report. You better make some plans before you head out the door. Here's traffic reporter Anique Evans with the latest. What are we looking at, Anique?
Well, right now we're looking at East Rutherford. This is Route 3 eastbound, just past the western spur for the New Jersey Turnpike. An accident has the left lane blocked as you're getting to this area, and traffic is stopped back to the service road. And now checking mass transit, everything is currently running on or close to schedule for Metro North, PATH Trains, New Jersey Transit, and the LIRR. Alternate side parking is in effect today citywide. Chris, back to you.
Anique, thank you very much. An update now on the police shooting of a man who is now facing charges in Westchester County. The Westchester DA says an investigation determined the shooting on May 20th in Armonk was justified. During an attempted arrest, 38-year-old Joseph Spinato allegedly tried to stab a North Castle sergeant. Spinato was shot twice and survived. He's now charged with attempted murder of a police officer.
Michelle Troconis is due back in a Connecticut courthouse today for sentencing. Troconis was found guilty in March of all 6 charges she faced in connection with the disappearance and death of Connecticut mother Jennifer Dulos. Prosecutors say Troconis helped Fotis Dulos plan and then cover up the murder. He died by suicide in 2020, shortly after being charged in her death. Dulos' body has never been found. Troconis faces up to 50 years in prison.
Well, a federal court has sided with the NAACP in a lawsuit against New York election officials. The Brooklyn branch of the organization challenged a state law which banned groups from providing food and drinks to voters waiting in line. The NAACP claimed the law violated the First and 14th Amendments.
Your Health Watch this morning, a troubling finding about college students. New research shows post-traumatic stress disorder among college students more than doubled between 2017 and 2022. It now stands at 7.5%. An annual web-based survey known as the Healthy Mind Study says the sharp increase came as the coronavirus pandemic shut down campuses and upended the lives of college students.
Well, the Girl Scouts tackling a serious mental health concern. The group conducted research revealing that the vast majority of girls, some as young as 5, experience loneliness. The survey shows as loneliness increases, confidence drops. However, friendship and meaningful connections can empower girls and build resilience. The National Alliance on Mental Illness collaborated with the Girl Scouts on the research.
Living in today's society are constantly being inundated with messages, and their ability to step away from all of the information that they're receiving is quite challenging.
The survey also shows a majority of girls prefer spending less time on screens and instead being creative or spending time with family, something researchers say is worth fostering.
As we head into this summer months, city officials are gearing up for a busy weather season. This year, the New York City Parks Department has planted a record number of trees in neighborhoods most at risk from excessive heat, the most planted in 8 years. The Parks Commissioner says the shaded areas created by the trees could offer 20 to 40% more cooling.
They absorb storm water, they help to clear the air. So we talk about the wildfires last summer, they actually can help absorb particulate matter.
Make sure that you check in on your neighbor, on your family member. They're the most vulnerable population.
Part of the city's weather preparedness plan includes cooling locations for seniors, all of which could be found on the Notify NYC site or by calling 311.
Time now is 5:48. Up next, we are just a month away from congestion pricing. That's right, the battle continues, this time with truck drivers. Details on their new lawsuit.
Banning cell phones in schools, the legislation introduced by Governor Hochul. We hear from parents and get their reaction on the bill. Welcome back to CBS2 News this Friday morning, May 31st, and we have temperatures climbing today. Wait to hear about the weekend. Let's turn things over to the First Alert forecast. And John Elliott, what are we expecting? 61 degrees. Wow.
Nice. And then when you think of how many weekends have been wet, something to look forward to. So technically, this next weekend is the first summer weekend using the meteorological calendar. Summer starts in June. 61, let's see, ooh, looking nice. Pleasantly warm Saturday. Now, a few more clouds on Sunday. Okay, so let's split a few little soggy hairs. We'll bring in the chance of a shower Sunday night, north and west, and then we start next week. We showed you the European wants to bring in some rain. But I got to tell you, it would be great. And for many of us, we are going to pull off a dry and delightful weekend, which is a nice change of pace because we're looking at the stats. For the weekend since March 1, the beginning of meteorological spring, only 3 were dry. The vast majority were wet. So we're going to turn that trend around, and we got some nice weather to look forward to this weekend. So, yeah, let's get out there and make some plans. Back to Chris.
John, thank you so much. Now for checking your First Alert traffic report, here's CBS 2's traffic reporter Anique Evans with more.
Thanks, Chris. Let's start off with a stalled vehicle on the Garden State Parkway. This is northbound at exit 136 Stiles Street. The right lane is closed with that. Luckily not causing too much of a delay at this time. Now a live look outside at East Rutherford. This is Route 3 eastbound, just past the western spur of the New Jersey Turnpike. A stalled vehicle has the left lane closed there as well, and traffic is back to the service road. Alternate side parking is in effect today citywide. Chris and Mary, back to you.
Okay, Nick, thank you. New Jersey officials try to ease concerns following Memorial Day panic in Seaside Heights. Today, the New Jersey AG will show off some of the new safety initiatives put in place for the summer. Their goal is show Seaside Heights as a family-friendly environment at the Jersey Shore. This follows some late-night panic in Seaside Heights over the weekend following false reports of a gun.
There is a new lawsuit to try to derail the controversial congestion pricing plan.
The Truckers Association of New York wants a federal judge to declare the plan unconstitutional. The suit charges that New York and the MTA can't regulate trucks because truckers are protected by federal law. Starting June 30th, drivers will be charged a fee to enter Manhattan's Central Business District, and that's anything below 60th Street.
It charges us more than passenger vehicles, and it charges us every time we go into the zone, and we are non-discretionary travel. We have to make those deliveries at the time that our customers demand it.
MTA wouldn't comment on this suit, but it made a motion to have the suit sent to the same federal judge who has held hearings on 5 other suits challenging the program.
The MTA is cracking down on fake plates and toll evaders. The agency says a joint operation across all 5 boroughs made dozens of arrests, issued hundreds of summonses, and seized dozens of cars. The operation is part of the MTA Bridges and Tunnels revenue recovery efforts.
Governor Kathy Hochul considering a bill that would ban smartphones in schools. Many schools have smartphone restrictions like putting phones in a pouch during class, but Governor Hochul says that might not be enough. The idea of the ban is to reduce distractions in class. She plans to take a year to discuss the potential bill with students and parents. Parents we spoke to are split on the matter.
I believe cell phones should be banned. I don't feel they should be banned, but they should be restricted.
Students should be, number one, learning, but number two, socializing with other people in person.
Hochul says the old-fashioned flip phone is fine for parents to send with their kids to school, but not smartphones.
CBS2 is a proud media sponsor of the Queen's Pride Parade, and that is happening this Sunday in Jackson Heights. And one of the 3 people leading the parade as a Grand Marshal is one of the city's most decorated teachers. Billy Green was awarded Teacher of the Year in New York State in 2023, now being honored as Grand Marshal in Sunday's Queen's Pride Parade. Green teaches chemistry and physics at A. Philip Randolph High School in Harlem and is a champion of inclusion, which means embracing different points of view.
I'm the emergency room of education, and it is my job, right, to ensure that any ill that society imposes on my classroom or my students, I'm able to inject them with hope, motivation, inspiration, and then my biggest part, liberation. These kids are everything, and they deserve the best, and that's why I do my job.
Green is hoping the role as Grand Marshal in the Queen's Pride Parade shows the city and the world that there is, quote, a lot of love in being inclusive. We're helping to kick off the festivities on our 9 a.m. show with David Kilmnick, organizer and president of the LGBT Network, and cheerleaders from Gotham Cheer.
All right, looking forward to that. It is 5:56 right now. It's still ahead. The verdict is in. Jury finds former President Trump guilty on all 34 counts in that historic criminal trial that ended yesterday.
We have live team coverage breaking down what happened inside the courtroom and what's next for Trump as we inch closer toward the 2024 presidential election.
Plus, police searching for a suspect this morning after a rider was stabbed on the 3 train in Brooklyn. The latest on the investigation. You're watching CBS 2 News this morning.